Alright, hello there guys and welcome back to another Python tutorial. So in this Python tutorial I'm going to be covering how to access MySQL data in a database through Python. So for this tutorial we're going to be using a library called mysql.connector. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting stuff into a database and pulling stuff out of a database, and using SQL statements and stuff within Python to get this data. Obviously you can adapt this however you want, but this is just the bare bones of how to input and output, or insert and select as SQL would put it. Now for this I'm going to be using a server that I have running on a server computer in my room. And therefore we'll be connecting over our network, and not running it locally on the same machine. So this is how you do that as well. So to begin with, what we're going to do is we're going to go mydb, might make it a little bit bigger, equals mysql.connector.connect. And within here we're going to be putting our arguments. So we've got host, we're going to have user, we're going to have password, and we're going to also have database. There we go. And so what we're going to have to do now is go over and get those. So now I know that my local computer is running on 192.168.1.65, and so we can fill that in. Now we have to go and create our user account on our separate computer database. So here you can see we have our database, and we want to go into the user accounts setting inside our PHP MyAdmin. Now I'm running this on a XAMPP server. Obviously XAMPP isn't super secure, it's more based for testing and displaying this sort of stuff for tutorials. So if we go ahead and click on user account, so I've gone ahead and gone straight into create new user, because we're going to need to create a new user, and then obviously you want to put in your username, so SQL tut, and you want to leave it on any host if you're connecting externally. If you're running it on the machine that you're going to be connecting from, you want to change it to local, but we're using it as any host so that we can connect from external. Now password, I'm going to just randomly generate one, so you want to copy and paste this, and you're going to have it input here, and then down the bottom you want to at least grant, say, data privileges. Obviously all the other privileges you can allow depending on your preference or what you need, but we're just going to use the basic ones for now. And then you want to go and create your account. So now that we've created that user account, we also want to create a database. I've already created one here called SQL example. That's rather simple, and I can cover it in a video if you guys need me to, but currently I have it already set up and working. I have a users table with nothing in it yet, because we're going to add to that with ID, F name and last name. Obviously you can add more columns as you need them. So back in our code now, we want to go ahead and we want to add our password. So in this case that's my password. Our username was SQL tut, and we also need to put that inside this, and the database name was SQL example, I believe. Yep, SQL example. And so then that should open our connection correctly. So first what we want to do is we want to try and fetch our data. Obviously there's nothing in there to fetch, but we want to go ahead and do that. So we're going to use my cursor equals my db.cursor. Then we want to go my cursor dot execute, and then we want to pass it our SQL statement. So here we want to select from, and the table name is users, and then we want to go ahead and go my result equals my cursor dot fetch all, and for x in my result print x. So I don't actually know if this is gonna go ahead and bring anything out, because obviously there's nothing in there, but what we can do here is we can have a look at the code. So we define our cursor, we then execute our SQL statement. So here we're selecting all from users. The result is being sent to here. Obviously you're fetching everything from the database, and then you're iterating over it as if it's a list, printing out X. Obviously you can add if statements in here to check for certain things and not print out certain things. But let's go ahead and run it and see if it brings up any errors. Okay, so it brings up nothing, and just finishes, no errors. I'll show you that now though. So you can see here that it runs and it brings up nothing and finishes. Alright, so now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to add something into this database, right? So we want to go actually we want to grab this line again, and we want to move it up, and we want to go our SQL statement. So SQL is equal to whatever we put in here, and then we're going to give it its values after and execute a bunch of stuff. So what we want to do is we want to go, oh, what am I doing? God damn. Insert into users. We want to add to their if name, if underscore name, and L underscore name. Now that first ID column I've set to auto increment, so we don't need to add anything for it. It will count up from 1 to infinity. And then we want to go values, and we want to pass it a %s for every value we want to enter. So we want to enter 2, we need 2 %s's. Now we want to go val. So we want to input our values here. So we've got our 2 values. I don't know if you want to, I guess what we can do here is we can go if name equals input, and L name equals input. And then we can go ahead and put if name and L name. Oh, not lambda. L name. So what that's going to do, if I have this correct, it's going to insert into users the value for if name and the value for L name, using this here in the next line that we write. So the next line that we write is my cursor dot execute SQL, which is our SQL statement, val, which is the values we're going to put in those %s positions, and then we're going to my db.commit, and theoretically that should work. We're going to have a print here to let us know. So print, hold on 1 second. Alright, so print my cursor dot row count, record inserted. Cool. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and test this. So running this code now, we have our F name, say, so Stan, last name going man, and you can see we inserted one record and we didn't get it to work. That is because my columns are set to integer and not text. Alright, now that I've edited my table so that it's text, we can try that again. We can go Stan, man, and you can see here we have our column that didn't work, and then we have our second column that did work, which Stan man. So now let's show you this in the database side. So you can see here we have our two values in here. Obviously 00 is when I didn't have it set to text, and Stan man is set to the value now that we have the text in there. Obviously I had to change these from int to text here, and that fixed that issue. So it was just a type issue, but you can see our values are still in here. So now for obviously deleting and anything else that you'd need to do, they're done pretty basic, similar way to this line here, mainly this part here. So deleting, you'd just pass in the stuff that you want to delete, and then you'll substitute in and execute it, and then commit it to the database. So that pretty much does it for this tutorial. Obviously you can go ahead and you can edit it in a way that you feel you need it for your system, but obviously running a XAMPP server works well for this sort of thing. For testing, obviously you can obviously run your own databases through Python and using sockets and stuff, but I don't currently have any tutorials on that sort of stuff. I can cover the XAMPP side of things more if you would like, but obviously leave a comment in the comment section below asking about that sort of thing. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Alright, hello there guys. You've obviously made it to the end of the video, so you've obviously enjoyed it or had to watch the whole thing at least. So if you could consider subscribing, that would be a great help to my channel. If you have any suggestions for future videos, make sure to drop them in the comments below. Like the video to show your support to me, so that I know whether you like the content that I'm making. And yeah, hope to see you in the